Cover story, something that people don't care about typically, but I enjoy seeing Ulti in the cover story, right? I know for Yamato, even as a character, she's somebody that brings up so many different conversations, so many different feelings, considering how she was handling Wano. I mean, I don't really care. Yamato doesn't bother me, but I love seeing Ulti. The cover story right now isn't as important, but we know it's going to be important going forward. I think people should not give up on the cover story. It's going to make sense going forward, right? It's going to make sense. It's going to come together. I think Oda's saving it and saving the major reveals for when it's relevant in the story as well, in the actual canon story. So the cover story is going to line up for what's going on in the actual story. Like he did last time, I think that's what he's waiting for. That's why it feels like useless information right now. I think he's doing it on purpose just to line it up. Either way, Alti looks cool, Pedro looks cool. She's building her crew. It's good. Now, chapter. The setup is here. They have the kids. They let them know their demands. And now it's just a waiting process. But they don't have a lot of time because Rana, she's about to fall over. And Rana, I told you guys last chapter, she's become my daughter of this arc. So I'm invested in her well-being. So them saying they have to destroy the library and the books or whatever, I don't care. Destroy it all to save Rana. But I understand it. That is a storied history. Elbaf and the history could be important to the One Piece going forward. And just the Straw Hat's journeys and everything that we've known. So that's not something you necessarily want to destroy right away. But I don't care. Rana. That's what's important to me. They're deliberating and they're trying to figure out exactly what they want to do, what they need to do. In the meantime, Summers, he's put on the pressure. Hey, in this amount of time, somebody's going to fall. I was wondering like how Rana got redirected. And again, she seemed to be the most optimistic out of everybody there based on what was going on. She was just like, hey, everything's fine. We're good. We'll be good. She veers off. I'm like, come on. Not her. Not her. This might seem diabolical considering what I just said about Rana and her well-being. However, I enjoy how much Summers is enjoying this entire scenario. It seems like it's such joy for him to have people under this pressure, right? Under these measures. You have to make a decision. He just seems like he's just having a ball. And I get it, right? I mean, how often do the God Knights mobilize? Let's be honest. So right now, I'm having a blast. Nami said something that I thought was absolutely ridiculous. Nami said, even the worst criminals don't take children as hostages. Bro, all the worst criminals we've seen, it does not matter who it is. Man, woman, fish man, squid, they take anybody as hostages. Nami, you were a hostage. You were as a child. At the end of the day, it does not matter, right? If somebody's evil, they are evil. Hostages? Listen, the world's worst. Look at Caesar. Bro, kids, it doesn't matter, right? So Nami, I mean, I guess she's trying to make Summers and Gunko feel bad. They're not. Newsflash, they will not feel bad about this. They are quite enjoying this. Okay, reel it back a little bit. We have to examine just the tone of the chapter. It's pretty evident what the focus is. Rana and saving her. Them mobilizing, Ripley getting involved. They're going to save their children, right? The kids are the future. But now it's interesting because it feels like you're picking the future versus the past. Children are the future, but our history, our culture, it all resides there. Which one are we picking? And so it goes back to even Harold's choice. Did he have the same choice? Future or past? Because now you have to pick. I think it's an easy choice, right? You pick your past. I get it. You got to choose the kids. The kids are the future no matter what. Now, granted, they've been reared in a way that is not representative of Elbaf culture at all. So it'll be a completely new culture being cultivated based on these kids and what the God Knights have planned for them. So that's something to also consider. So you would lose your storied, rich history. And Summers, again, he's enjoying this. He's saying it's not just about the books, right? We want to destroy your culture and your history. Listen, for Robin, that's sent her over the edge because that's what they tried to do to O'Hara, which they kind of did. And so she's like, that's enough. Saiyan Frur! I get it. I get it. Didn't see this coming, right? I thought there'd be some overlap, some cross-fighting a little bit. I did not see Robin attacking Summers first, considering it's a terrible matchup. Completely horrible matchup. Now, how she approached the situation was brilliant. Attack him, get him off guard, clutch him, throw him off the edge, clone, right? Just buy yourself some time because you cannot beat Summers straight up considering one, he is immortal, two, you have to touch him and touching thorns is not something you want to do. So for Robin doing that, I'm like, that's the best thing you could have done. There's a part of me that I'm elated because Robin is taking initiative. Robin, this should strike you to the core. Burning a library, burning books, erasing culture, history. That's what they did to you. And it did. She can't control her anger anymore. Like at this point, they're just playing in her face. They're just playing with the O'Harans. O'Harans, because she's technically the only one left. But I think she did the right thing. She jumped in there, made me smile, made my heart smile because Robin is on the move. I think we all root for Straw Hat character agency. Not all of them, right? Because Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, they're going to do stuff. Jinbei, obviously. Nami, Robin, even Chopper, Usopp, Brook. You root for these guys doing things because, I mean, guys, it's just better when the crew is competent. However, something that typically happens is the crew's competency gets taken away for the sake of another faction and their incompetency. I think ideally I would like if the others were competent, which would force the Straw Hats to be even more competent. We don't have to dumb down what we already are to suit the other crews. We can just make the other crews better. And I think that's what they've done with the God Knights, where they just seem better. However, it's a lot of it is reliant on the regeneration thing, or them being immortal. And so that creates a very interesting dynamic in my head. And I've seen comments around where they're like, I don't know how I feel about the God Knights, because it seems like they're completely reliant on their immortality, which I don't think that's the case. Summers is clearly really good with his devil fruit, so is Gunko and Killingham. So I'm at a place where I'm fighting with myself. I want to believe in the danger of the God Knights. I want to believe in Summers, Gonko, and Killingham. I want to believe in them. But there's a part of me that's saying, there's something missing. I need more. I need something else. There's something missing. We'll see what that is. I have an idea what that is. But with them, they don't feel like the big baddies of an arc. They feel like henchmen. Because what? They were introduced as henchmen. So I've really warmed up to them so far, especially Summers. Again, I enjoy how diabolical he is. And Gunko, she's, in a way, as crazy as Gunko is, I feel like at some point, I'm going to be rooting for her. Is it just me? Is it just me? I feel like at some point, I'm going to be rooting for Gunko. So you can't make me hate her. Yet. Now we got to talk about Rana. Such a sweet little girl. In the moment of death, they're about to kill her. And they're basically putting their future versus their past. And Rana, one of the kids, it looks like one of the youngest kids. She's saying, I've been raised to not bother people and do things to people that they don't like. However, they're trying to kill me. And if they don't kill me, they have to burn our library, our books. I like the library. I love the library. I love the books. If that happens, it will bother too many people. So I'd rather die. And I'll be okay with that. God. Rana, stop right. Burn those damn books right damn now. She nailed it. All right. And again, being so young, being so innocent, being so wise beyond your years, where you're like, I get it. I get what has to happen and I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm not okay with it, but I'm okay with it. I'd rather that. Sacrificing yourself like that. Jawa was like, burn the books right away. And I agree with them. That's great. Come on. Not my daughter. The implications are much larger than we even know, considering we don't even know how much Elbaf has, considering just the storied history and the hints we've gotten from the mural. So Elbaf has such a rich culture that burning those books would be devastating to the future of the story, the future of One Piece. How can I give up Rana right now? Granted, I really enjoyed the end of the chapter because our boy came in. Now, at first, I wasn't even seeing what was happening because Summers lost an arm. And what was happening, his arm wasn't regenerating. And then he got sliced again. He's like, Scopper Gaban? He said Scopper Gaban before he got sliced again. It was like, okay. A few observations. First off, the regen. No. First off, no. We talked about this. We talked about this months ago, right? Literally make a video saying Scopper's in Elbaf. It's obvious. Months ago, saying what he was going to do here. Now, I also said he was going to train Luffy on how to do this, which makes the most sense. But I said he was the guy he's going to give us insight on the regen and how to beat it. It just makes sense with the Roger Pirate being as wise as he is, having so much cachet. He's a legend. Why would he not know how to damage the God Knights? Especially considering, guys, the Roger Pirates were at God Valley. And we know that in some capacity, Garling engaged. Summers is old enough. He has been there. He was there more than likely. So it's a rematch of some sorts. Because he's like Scopper Gaban, so they interacted before, but he's terrified. So I'm assuming they didn't just interact. Scopper Gaban beat his ass, I'm assuming. So quickly, what is the regen and how does Haki, counter it? I'm going to say right now, I don't think it's Advanced Conquerors because it doesn't make sense. Luffy said he tried everything in Egghead. If Luffy didn't use Advanced Conquerors, I would lose my mind. Did talk to Vincent Chanzard recently and he talked about in Luffy versus Kizaru, Luffy was, in regards to animation, it was specifically not to animate Luffy using Advanced Conquerors because that was not the intent. The intent was not to defeat necessarily, right? I'll put a clip here.
They know what needs to be said in that scene, if that makes sense. These people are like, in this scene, this is what's happening. And on the debate of like, Luffy versus Kizaru in that scene. In that scene, I can tell you that I brought when I was, preparing the rough, when I was planning the fight, when
Yeah.
I was talking with my director, I brought up, for example, the use of Ryuo because in my mind it made perfect
Makes
sense
sense.
that like to punch like Kizaru's sword, it would make complete sense to use
Rio.
Ryuo.
Mm-hmm.
And my director flat out told me Luffy is not trying to beat Kizaru in that scene. He's literally just trying to like get him contained, if that makes sense. He's not being serious. And so that's what I had to work with no matter what. No
Yeah.
matter what my thought on the matchup are, what I had to do as an animator was Kizaru is trying to pass by force Luffy.
Whole thing on Patreon, link below. But it is a situation where you have to understand that narratively, what makes sense. Having advanced conquerors be the only way to hurt the Gorosei God Knights, it creates such a massive chasm in what is necessary. Because then something that is necessary becomes in vogue and then becomes irrelevant because more people have it and then it loses its luster. So if advanced conquerors is what we need to defeat the God Knights, the Gorosei, the Straw Hats aren't the only people fighting the God Knights and the Gorosei. We're going to give some to the revolutionaries. So Karasu, Morley, Lindbergh. What's happening? Also, it's interesting that for the God Knights, we are seeing aging God Knights. They are immortal, but they are aging. Garling, Sommers, of course, we haven't seen Sommers, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he looked younger back in the day. But they're immortal. So it seems to be two stages of this power, right? So Imu can grant immortality, regen, perpetual youth, but also just grant immortality, regen, where you're still aging. So was the Opi no Mi used on Imu and then he can transfer this power through another devil fruit? It makes me think about My Hero Academia, where they found a way to use quirks so well together that they amplified other quirks. Did Imu figure out the devil fruits that you can use together to amplify what the power is? The OP no Mi is one. How does he then transfer power? Does he have a different form of the jacket fruit? Because obviously the Gorosei are connected to Imu. Obviously Imu's power was keeping them relevant and alive. There's so many questions that we have. It leads to so much speculation. But what we do know is that Scopper Gaban is him. That's one thing we do know. Scopper Gaban is him, and he came through in a major way. It's not over though. I don't think we're at the end of the arc. You don't think we're at the end of the arc. So how do they stop Scopper, knowing Scopper knows how to stop them? I'm intrigued. I'm excited. It doesn't say break, but I heard that there was going to be a break upcoming. So I'm a bit nervous. Give me your thoughts, guys. It was dire. Scopper shows up, but how it's going to... It can't end like this. With the power to stop the regen, I'm leaning towards it being infusion of some sort. Advanced conquer. I'm not. It could be it, and Oda doesn't really care about who has it. It's just like, hey, if it's needed, it's needed. But that's how I feel. Give me your thoughts. Like the video. Subscribe. And of course, again, the full video with Vincent Chanzard is in the link below. We talked to Vincent, myself, and Sai about Luffy versus Kizaru, Sanji versus Zoro. Does Toei hate Sanji? Future One Piece episodes. What to expect. Different, etc., etc., etc. Of course, there are things you can't talk about, but link is down below. Amazing conversation. Shout out to Vincent Chanzard. But like the video, subscribe, and we have a lot more to talk about when it comes to this chapter and One Piece in general. But so guys, stay tuned, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.